Welcome back. Let's talk about trafficking, human trafficking in Nigeria, and how that has kind of given us quite some image that is not honorable in that sense. So we brought in somebody who understands how this works and what is going on in that space, and bringing us up to speed with the recent reception of the federal government of about 231 trafficked youths from Ghana. Let's talk to Tessie Osakwe. She is the chairman, Anti-Human Trafficking Committee, MBA Ikorodu branch, also the project director, Lagos Legal Hub. Thank you, ma'am, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
One of the first questions I like to ask when we talk about issues of human trafficking is to help our audience understand the scale of what we're dealing with. That can create a bit of context so we understand the seriousness or otherwise of exactly what this is really all about. Maybe you can start from there.
Thank you. Human trafficking generally is, when we are talking about trade in human or trade of human, ranging from sexual exploitation to forced labor and all forms of exploitation. That is what it is basically, but really it's a crime that is rated the third highest crime in the world, aside drugs. So it's really not a small business, because this is it's really not a small issue, because this is a business that has over $150 billion profit annually. So it has gotten so deep into the system that it's formed a cartel, and then trying to pin down this, well, the kingpins in this crime is serious business for everyone, and then people should really look in that direction for help.
All right, without trying to be in a hurry to find out, one of the things I would like us to achieve is to help the vulnerable persons. For instance, you and I, it will be difficult to traffic us. The reason is quite simple. We're informed, we're educated, perhaps we have street smart. There are a couple of things that are working for us. Not everybody has that opportunity to be able to know what to do, especially when life has put them at a disadvantaged position given the state of the economy. So maybe you walk us, say for instance, sex trafficking. That's for an example. How are they lured, and why is the success rate high?
Really, the ingredients for, or what you can term as human trafficking, if you have the basic ingredients that refer to the crime, is one, the act, the means, and the purpose. And what are the acts? Have you recruited? Have you transported? Have you received? Have you harbored? Have you transferred a person? And what are the means? Coercion, fraud, deception. And for what purpose? For the purpose of exploitation, for the purpose of organ harvesting, what's it called? Sexual exploitation, child labor, and all of that. So if you see all these ingredients put together in a particular act, we can successfully say that the person has been trafficked. And one of the reasons why it is so easy to traffic people is just like as you've mentioned. One, lack of education. I mean, it depends. For some in the north, we know that people are not so educated in that region, and the most vulnerable population are women and children. So, lack of education is one. Unemployment and poverty could also push people or make these traffickers prey on the vulnerable's innocence.
So at the end of the day, there may never be a time when we're not going to have poor people amongst us. There will never be a time past when we're not going to have vulnerable people in that sense amongst us. So the level of critical mass of these people is a different kettle of fish altogether. So let's switch it to what policies of government are in place, especially because there's a failure most of the time with the Nigerian state when it comes to administration of justice. I mean, rule of law in that sense, to hold the persons who are perpetrators. If this industry is that large, I don't know what the scale is for Nigeria. You've talked about the global one, which is 150 billion, perhaps is more. I don't know what the size is in Nigeria, but I'm sure a lot of people have become wealthy and rich carrying out this illicit enterprise. What are you seeing as a lawyer in terms of prosecution, apprehension and prosecution of those who are perpetrating this? Are we doing enough?
I would say that the government is trying, and with the help of agencies like NAPTIP, that is the focal agency for prosecution. My organization, as a group, because I belong to an organizational-based group where we have all other law enforcement agency coming together to fight this crime. Going by way of scale, we can say that the government is trying, but we would say, we can safely also say that we are not doing enough. If we go by the TPR Act, which NAPTIP is using and which is the international standard for, we can say that there are more prosecution than conviction in the trafficking business. And that's because it's not easy. It's a chain, it's a cabal, it's huge. It's not easy to really pin down these traffickers, so to speak. So from whistleblowing to investigation, to arrest, to prosecution, and conviction is a process. It's a huge process.
Which is why I'm going to ask if, you know, the work of prosecution and the efficacy of the judicial justice system will have to go beyond the shores of the country to explore collaborations with the justice system of other countries within the African continent. For instance, in Libya, where we find that these trafficking is going on a rather large scale, where we see, you know, a lot of Nigerians and indeed other Africans from other African countries who are, you know, detained, and, you know, messages are sent to their family members to send money in order to have them released and all of that. So, because more often than not, they are called a syndicate. So would the justice system be more, and in fact, is the committee exploring this option?
Actually, what we are looking at is the internal space, what we have in the internal space. The hub, the Lagos Legal Hub, is a collaboration of so many key players, from the Human Rights Commission to Duty Solicitor Network to all the human rights committees, or basically Ikeja and Ikorodu MBA human rights committees, to FIDA, to ALA, to NAPTIP. We have a huge collaborators working together to first look inwards what we have and how we can rescue and reintegrate these people, I mean, from within. Now we are aware of the 231 returnees from Ghana, and it's like a weekly thing or a monthly thing. In fact, I can say weekly thing because the Ministry of Special, if you go down to the Ministry of Special Duties and Management, you would see firsthand how returnees are returned from Libya. They've gone through a lot, try to reintegrate them back. So it's a collaboration with the hub too, to go and also try to tell them their rights, try to bring them back home, they are back home already, and then how to settle back home. Now you are back, so what's next? So in the international space, yes, I can say that Mrs. Abike Dabira Irewa is doing all she can. Nigerians within Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, she's really trying in that space. So I think that's I would leave that space to her and the commission at the international scene. But coming down to Nigeria, what we are trying to do at the hub and with the Committee on Human Rights in some of these Nigerian Bar Association human rights committees, how to reintegrate them back to the society. And of course, awareness has to be on top gear.
And as you do the work of reintegration, isn't it simplistic to say that some of these people keep falling into the net of the traffickers due to lack of education, ignorance? Because time and again, arrests are made, and there is that advocacy on television that people should not fall prey to traffickers. Yet, it seems to be a vicious cycle. So what do you attribute to the continuing willingness of these people to take up, verbose job offers that have a lot of potholes, dangers ahead for them?
I think it borders on awareness, really. It borders on awareness. Has the awareness gone down to the roots, to the villages, in dialects, in different languages? Because we're in a diverse, multifaceted kind of situation here where within even a community you have 3-4 other community existing. Is this awareness really getting that? What we do at the hub, for instance, we go to schools, we take our campaign and awareness on human trafficking down to schools, secondary schools. We meet them at the assembly ground or in their school halls. We need to we go to churches, we go to market areas to sensitize the community. So we cannot overemphasize the role of campaigns and awareness, outreaches. It's not enough. We just have to keep going because people will keep falling prey of this. I mean, the states where you have larger vulnerable population are, for instance, Delta, Edo, Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, Abia. And these are for obvious reasons. Some of them are border states, and for a state like Abia, you have more of child labor or forced labor, because this is a crime that is happening at our faces, and we don't tend to identify it even as literates. As literate as you can be, could be happening at your face and you're not seeing it. We have underage nannies. We have underage sales girls and sales reps here and there. And the question is, if you look deep, how did we come to this point? You go to eateries, you find a family of 4, and then there's this young girl that is not so well dressed as every other person. She's made to sit at another table, not given what everybody's eating. And you look at the picture of this family and you think it's a perfect family. You look at them with so much beauty, and then there's this other person at the side. So if you look at the age of these children, most of them from the east and some from the south, because we have cases of where you want to apply for nannies, you go through agents, and nobody cares to know how this child or person got to Lagos. You also go to transportation, the transportation industries. They traffic people every day.
Okay.
You find somebody putting a child on a vehicle and telling the driver, somebody will pick her up at Lagos, somebody will pick her up at Ojota, somebody will pick her up at some park. These things are happening at our faces. So
that means we need OCs, officers in charge of those areas to get to work.
NAPTIP is even doing a lot, because they've gone ahead to train drivers. They've gone to all these transportation companies, and of course NAPTIP is a part of the legal hub too. So they've gone ahead to train most of these people to be able to identify
trafficking.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing conversation, and it's just sad to see that somebody's already vulnerable and then now trafficked, so it's a double jeopardy. But we thank you for the work you do, and also thank NAPTIP for the efforts being put, and they can do better so that we'll reduce that number and spoil business for the perpetrators. Tessie Osakwe is the chairman, Anti-Human Trafficking Committee of the NBA Ikorodu branch, also project director at the Lagos Legal Hub. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we will bring you yet another conversation. This time, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Join us again in just a moment. We'll be right back.